All right, let's get right into it. The historian Yuval Noah Harari, the guy who wrote *Sapiens* and *Homo Deus*, is basically sounding a huge alarm. He's saying that humanity is facing its biggest challenge ever. And it's not just about the economy or politics, it's about the very stories we live by and the incredible technology that's already starting to rewrite our future. So we're going to break down his biggest warnings and lessons for how to even begin to navigate this crazy new century. So, here's the big question Harari throws at us, and it's one that I think hits home for everyone. The world is changing so incredibly fast that the jobs and skills we value right now, they could be totally useless by the time our kids are looking for work. So, what's the plan? What on earth do we do? To figure out where we're going, we first have to look at the ground that's kind of crumbling right under our feet. For centuries, humanity has run on these big, grand stories, think religion, nationalism, liberalism, that give our lives meaning and structure. But Harari's point is that those big stories, they're collapsing. I mean, just look at this timeline. The 20th century was basically a giant battle of stories. Back in 1938, you had three major teams on the field. By 68, fascism was out. Then, in 98, after the Soviet Union fell, it looked like liberalism had won the championship. It was the last story standing. But then, the 2008 financial crisis hit, and all the political chaos that's followed, well, now that story's falling apart too. And that leaves us in this huge, confusing ideological vacuum. No one really knows what to believe in anymore. And you know what rushes into a vacuum? Power. In this case, two massive new forces are storming the stage: the twin revolutions of artificial intelligence and biotechnology. And let's be clear, these are not just fancy new tools. These are forces with the power to completely reshape our society and humanity itself in ways we can barely even imagine. And this is where things get really wild. For the last 100 years or so, the great fight was against exploitation. Workers fighting the big bosses for better pay and better conditions because the elites needed them. But AI and automation are flipping that whole script. The big new fear isn't being exploited anymore, it's just becoming totally irrelevant. This quote right here, it just gets to the absolute core of the problem. If algorithms and robots can do almost any job better and cheaper, what happens to the billions of us left behind? Harari warns about the rise of a massive new useless class. Now, he's not saying people are useless as human beings, of course not, but that from the cold perspective of the economic system, they might be. And that is a truly terrifying thought. And if you're thinking, oh, that's just sci-fi, decades away, think again. This actually happened. In just 4 hours, Google's AI learned chess without any human input and destroyed the best chess program in the world. It didn't just play better, it played with strategies that human grandmasters called alien and creative. This isn't just about replacing factory jobs anymore. AI is mastering things we thought were uniquely human, and it's doing it at a speed we can't comprehend. And this isn't just about losing your job to a robot. The biotech revolution could create the biggest gap in human history. If the super rich can afford to buy genetic upgrades or brain-computer implants, we could literally see humanity split into different biological classes. A small group of upgraded superhumans, and then, well, the rest of us. Okay, so this whole tech disruption thing, it's not just happening out there in the world. It's getting personal. It's happening inside our own heads, and it's challenging the most basic ideas we have about ourselves. Let me ask you a question. Do you really believe you have free will? Our whole society is kind of built on that idea, right? That you know what's best for you. But what if that's not true anymore? What if some external algorithm can understand your feelings and your desires better than you understand them yourself? I mean, think about how this is already working. Every single click you make, every show you watch, every post you linger on for just a second too long, it's all being collected. This data is fed into massive algorithms that can figure out your personality and predict your behavior with scary accuracy. They're not just predicting what you'll do, they're actively shaping what you want to do. And this is the result. Authority is shifting away from us to the algorithms. We trust Google to navigate our cities, we trust Netflix to pick our movies, and as these systems get smarter and smarter, they start to shape our reality. He who controls the algorithm, well, he controls the truth. So wow, that's a lot. It sounds pretty bleak, right? We've got collapsing stories and tech that can literally hack human beings. So what are we supposed to do? Harari says the answer isn't to go smash the machines. The answer is to upgrade ourselves, not with technology,
but with a completely new way of thinking. In a world where we're drowning in information, the last thing we need is more data. What we need are the skills to make sense of it all. And that's where Harari pushes these 4 Cs. Critical thinking, so you can tell what's real from what's fake, communication and collaboration, because we have to solve these huge global problems together, and creativity, to keep inventing new things to do. The whole point is to stop focusing on learning one specific job skill and start developing the mental flexibility to just keep learning and reinventing yourself your entire life.
But honestly, at the end of the day, this goes way deeper than just a new school curriculum. The single most important skill is probably just the ability to handle constant change, to navigate all this uncertainty without completely losing it. As the world outside gets crazier, your internal stability, your self-awareness, your mental balance, that becomes your most valuable asset. And this is the final challenge Harari leaves us with. For thousands of years, philosophers have told us, know thyself. And it always sounded like, a nice, deep thought. But now, it's not a philosophical suggestion anymore. It's a survival strategy. Because if we don't make the effort to truly know ourselves, our own biases, our weaknesses, what really makes us tick, someone or something else will. And they will use that knowledge to sell us anything they want, whether it's a new pair of shoes or a political ideology. The race to hack the human brain is on. The only question is, who's going to win?